analyst working for the analytics team of College of Health Solutions. And joining with me today is my team, my coworker Nathan, and our manager out there, David. So we are a team working for various projects that includes generating a couple of dashboards and reports, which is eventually used by our CHS staff, the College of Health Solutions staff. And today we are going to talk about one of our most popular dashboard, that's the student headcount dashboard. And like the title says, from static to dynamic, we're going to walk you through what we had earlier, a traditional cross-tab view of a student headcount report. And we're going to show how we have moved to a more futuristic dashboard, which gives more functions, more visuals, and it is more user-friendly. So we're going to talk about why we are moving to a new dashboard, what did we do, the process that we followed to move to a new dashboard, and what does this new headcount dashboard provides us. So moving ahead, just for your information, we have the student headcount dashboard at the top of the list in terms of the number of views. So these are the dashboards which is generated in CHS, in College of Health Solutions. And among all the College of Health Solutions Tableau dashboards, we find student headcount dashboard to be used the most. And there is a reason why this dashboard is so popular. So what does this dashboard do to be so popular and to have such a high views? So the one thing is the enrollment tracking. It helps to understand the current term enrollment as well as the previous academic year enrollment. So whoever opens this dashboard, whoever uses this dashboard, has the liability to compare the enrollment count with the current term and the previous terms. It gives the demographic analysis of the students, like age, gender, ethnicity, minority, and even the geographic locations where these students have come from. It gives a program analysis, similar to the enrollment analysis what we had earlier, but this is like more in program level. We have the financial planning, which helps, the student headcount dashboard helps us to forecast and plan a budget for the upcoming terms based on the enrollment that we had been seeing this current term and the previous terms. And then we also have the admissions and recruitment, where the admission team understand the recruitment process of each program in ASU. They understand where the students are being recruited from in certain programs. And talking about who the users are of this specific dashboard, on the top we have the student and the academic success stuff, which comprises of 50% of the users, of the overall users of this dashboard. They are the one who track the recruitment efforts and evaluate the success of the marketing strategies. We have dean and senior administrators who monitors the enrollment and who make the plans for the upcoming terms based on the current enrollment. We have the program directors and the faculty who evaluate the enrollment for individual programs and understand the demographic of the students that are taking those individual programs. And then we have the business operations staff, which is the least in this. They comprise just 4% of the users. Basically, these people, they forecast the enrollment for the upcoming terms, and they're responsible to allocate the revenue. They forecast the revenue for the upcoming term and give a budget plan for the coming terms.
So we had a dashboard or a table. It's like, why was there a need to make a new dashboard or at least improve upon it? I'm going to combine the first block and then the last block together because they're kind of related to each other. So our headcount table is the most popular and was the most popular dashboard that's used at College of Health Solutions. So if we were going to improve one, why not pick the most popular of the ones that are in use? As mentioned earlier, the old dashboard was actually a table with some filters. So you select the filter and the counts change, nothing more to it. no visualizations or anything like that. So with this new dashboard, we wanted to provide visuals because it was just a count. So graphs, bar charts, line charts, tree maps. Also, people have asked us for, like, for example, where do our students come from, or our the demographic makeup of our headcount, so gender, race, ethnicity, and so on. We originally had dedicated dashboards for that. So, for example, the student demographics dashboard, and I believe at some point in time there was a dedicated geographic distribution dashboard for our students. So rather than have our users use our analytics portal, which it's not easily navigable sometimes, we wanted to try to consolidate all the dashboards into, or some of the dashboards into one location, so it's just easier for people to use. You don't have to click around so often. One of the more important reasons why we wanted to make a new dashboard was because the old table, there was actually a complex R program that powered the data transformation creation process. It was a pretty lengthy R script and relatively complex, depending on your user, how familiar you are with R. That read in multiple queries and then connected to multiple data sets, did a bunch of vectorized if-else statements, and then pushed the data set to, I believe, the Tableau server because the AUDB database wasn't available at the time, I believe.
Wrote it to a statistical file, which was published to the server.
Yeah, and then the table then connected to that. So this new process, we wanted to make use of the ASU data infrastructure. So dbeaver, AUDB, and Alteryx to pretty much automate, take care of everything. Oh, and then it's not enough sometimes to compare our final enrollment at the end of the term. Like, for example, fall 22 to fall 21. Some people are more interested in knowing how we're doing as of, for example, -2 weeks out from the term compared to the prior term at the same point in time. Like, are we doing bad or worse? It gives us an idea of how we might expect budget to decrease or increase at the end of the term, or like for the term, as well as just to see how our programs are doing. Just a brief overview of our development process. We won't go through the entire detail. So in order to develop the new query and dashboard, we had to look through the original R program and see what tables are used, how the tables work related to each other, identify any special logic involved. Yeah, and then the next step, or simultaneously rather, we took into consideration what people have asked for in the past, like what requests people wanted or what people found pretty not straightforward to get from the table. And we've also taken into consideration any repetitive data requests when we built this new dashboard. So after the first 2 steps, we tackled the query. So we had to figure out how to write the query in a way that eliminated having to read multiple queries into R and then do all of that. So the premise of the query is that we wrote a bunch of common table expressions that did a bunch of term selection and week selection dynamically, so that we're not hard coding anything. We wanted to keep this as hands-off as possible, as long as like Alteryx and Redshift are working. And then in order to completely automate it, we just set a Alteryx refresh. And then we designed the dashboard. I think designing the dashboard was the hardest part for me because I have a pretty difficult time making things look pretty. So I referred to what other institutions have done, as well as whatever was on Tableau Public to get an idea. And then, yeah, we created the dashboard. So here's a quick general schema of the entire workflow. I did not create a schema for the original R process because I didn't want to put the time into it. It was just a long R script. Just imagine a long chunk of code. So The new workflows consists of 2 queries, but to be honest, the top left query is the main query. That's where all of the term selection, week selection, enrollment data aggregation is done and handled. So we went from n different queries that was read into R to 1 main query that handled everything. The bottom left query is mainly used to roll up our individual academic plans into an umbrella academic program area. Some people were interested in looking at headcount by the program area instead of just one code or plan code. Essentially just a left join to roll up everything, and then I pushed it to AUDB where Tableau will connect to. So I did not want to show the entire query because it's long. I'll just show you the most important part that drives the entire thing. So this first CTE, called census terms, refers to the census student term enrollment table as well as the summary version. I use this first CTE is meant to create a set of all officially published institutional analysis enrollment data. So I create a set of all those terms. This is used to have our officially published data in the past. Active terms is used for our snapshots. So it consists of the set of terms that are after the maximum of whatever is available in the census term. So for example, when I first started doing this, it was fall 22, and we were interested in looking at tracking headcount into the spring, so spring 23, and then fall 22, or fall 23. So at that time, active terms would have those 2 terms that I'm interested in. Available weeks gives me the set of all active terms that have snapshots. So it's just a set of terms and their snapshot weeks. Week 3 terms, I don't think I mentioned this, but we stop our snapshots at week 3 into the semester because we're not interested in going into week 4 and so on. So week 3 terms tells me for the active terms of those that have a week 3 snapshot available, give me that set for fall and spring. It's a little small, but number 5 is week 12 terms, which behaves similarly to week 3, but summer we just let it roll all the way through to week 12. Again, pretty small, but max weeks is for the snapshot, for the terms that are currently in progress or upcoming, so fall 23 and spring 24, max weeks gives me their most recent snapshot week. And at the time I made this slide, I guess max week, so I mentioned that we're capping at week 3, right? So max weeks, if a term has week 3 available, max week gives me just week 3, it caps it. We don't consider week 4 and so on. But since spring 24 hasn't started yet, we roll -10, -9, and so on. And for demonstration purposes, I commented out a line that filters for that removes anything past week 3. And on the right side, you see 2 rows for fall 23, week 3, which is what we're capped at, what I'm interested in, and then week 11. I guess we're at week 11 of the semester right now. So once spring rolls in, the same thing will happen. I'll cap it at week 3. This was all handled automatically as long as Alteryx is working and Redshift is functioning. Snaps. So I mentioned that we're interested in comparing how we're doing at some week in the in-progress semester compared to the last term. And this SNPS CTE allows me to do that. So for example, in fall 23, since I capped it at week 3, it'll give me a row for fall 23 as well as the term that I'm comparing to prior, as well as the week. And then I created a row for the last fall, so fall 22 at the same point in time, And then similarly for spring 24 at -10 and spring 23 at -10. If there aren't any week 3s available, this would actually roll from like minus, I don't know how far out the snapshots actually start, maybe like -20 something up to 0 and then capped at 3. And then this is used in as an inner join with the something SPRF SNP table, the student enrollment table that has the snapshots. So I'll filter for the terms that I'm interested in, as well as the week that I'm interested in. And this 8, kind of small, it's how we determine when to drop the snapshot week. We drop a snapshot week, the snapshot enrollment records, whenever institutional analysis has published, I guess, fall 23 in Redshift. I don't think I included a picture for this, but so for example, if it's fall 23 and I have a week 3 available and institutional analysis has updated the census student term enrollment with fall 23 data, I flag that row as those records as yes. But until institutional analysis publishes that data, I flag it as no. And I believe the census table actually was updated either yesterday or tonight, because I checked this morning. Yeah. So if tomorrow morning when our Alteryx workflow does this work, our table will actually remove our snapshots and have fall 23 official data. And I'll show you what that looks like. So on the left is our old table. It's just a fixed crosstab with some filters. I didn't include a GIF because it's a table. On the right is a GIF of our new dashboard. I'm just showing you like the different graphs that are available, different parameters that are available, allowing people to choose how they want to aggregate their data by, and filters, so you can filter by gender, race, ethnicity, program, so on. We've also got one for race, ethnicity. It was kind of fast, but gender, full-time, part-time, academic career, and then geographical distribution, so where our students are coming from. I might have time to show it live. Should I show it live? No? All right. Because I don't even know if it'll load. Like, let me. Do you guys want to see it live really quick? I don't know. All right, okay.
Any questions while he's pulling that up?
Yeah.
I love this.
Thank you.
You guys are taking something you had out there that was working, right? You're identifying how do we make this better, how do we leverage the enterprise tools, how do we build it within the existing ecosystem. And like the level of quality and the way you thought through everything seems like really, really on point.
I appreciate it, because this is like the first big project that I worked on when I started here. I've been at CHS for a little over a year now. This is, I think, locked down to only CHS staff. Yeah. With FERPA. Yeah, I think you need FERPA as well, right? Student data. Yeah. I guess let's show you gender. Like, suppose you want to look at your head count by gender. Can I move this? Let's say you want to look at it by a specific degree. Let's just pick one. Bachelor's in health science. Click on the filter. Let's remove the box. There you go. Like, you have your proportions and counts all available for you by each term and so on. The original table didn't have this available. You would have to like compute it yourself, and I don't think like a front-end user would want to do that most of the time. What time is it? Still got some time. Okay. This is all, yes, this is all from Tableau, connected to the AUDB where we publish our data set. This is our map that Femento made. This shows us where our students came from, like their last institution, where they came from. So here for our international population, this is where they're coming from. If you press this button up top, you have it by state, and then also by zip code. So, sorry. Oh, sorry. Well, I clicked California. California showed up. Guess let me go back to so that's just a quick overview. Okay, challenges, things learned. Well, I learned that when you use grand totals in Tableau and you have an embedded tooltip viz, they don't behave as expected. They actually all stay fixed. You have to use set actions, which I learned existed. So that really confused me for a while. Like for example, if I hovered over any cell that is not a grand total, I'll get the right numbers. It'll change for each cell, but the grand totals for every column was the same. So that was something I had to learn. What else? I guess another thing that I learned how to write more dynamic SQL. I wasn't really much like a SQL writer before this, to be honest with you. I might have hard-coded it myself. So I learned that. It was a great learning opportunity for me. I guess Q&As, if you have a question. Yes? dbeaver, but I honestly prefer VS Code. Yeah, dbeaver. What would I do? What would I do differently? I'm not sure. What would you do differently?
I think there's an opportunity to add more sheets that
Yeah.
kind of specialize, like gender, minority status, adding more maybe
Yeah.
related to financial aid or something.
Yeah, actually, sorry. This project is actually like live. The last tab with the map that was actually added after the fact. So yeah, we're probably gonna add more visuals as time goes on. It's part of a larger project that we have as well.
So we want to consolidate dashboards to the extent possible, so you don't have to go to a bunch of different ones. So if we can kind of build this one up and get rid of other ones, that's ideal.
Yeah. Yes. I would say maybe a couple of months, because learning, well, I knew some SQL, but not to this extent. So getting things to work was difficult for me, and also having to check with the old process to see if our numbers matched up. And then there are some tricks in Tableau I had to learn as well. Yes.
What was the name of the feature that you utilized in Tableau to overcome that issue you encountered with the grand total? I missed that.
Yes, set actions. So yeah. And then I have it to where when you hover on the a dashboard action, which is a set action. Yeah. Anything else? Yes. We worked as a team. Yeah, we worked on the query together. We worked on a dashboard together. It was a very team-oriented project. Anything else? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I went over time.
Okay.
Well, thank you for attending our talk. I will. That's the whatever was available. Okay. Yeah. You might have to. Are you gonna use this one?
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me sign out real quick.
that actually works out well.
Okay. Well, I already signed out, but.
Thank you.
Here you go.
Thank you so much. Alrighty. Hello, guys. I know it is, I think, the last presentation of the day. You've already had lunch. You could have gone home by now, so thank you so much for staying. My name's Amber Hedquist. I'll introduce myself a little bit more on the next slide. But first and foremost, I'm talking today about Research Plus Me. Hopefully you got a quick preview from that flyer. But that being said, we're going to talk about a few things today. I'll introduce you to the platform, then I'll talk about why the platform exists, why did ASU Knowledge Enterprise develop the platform, what's the functionality of it, and how can you use it. My goal today is to encourage you to see how you can use it. You might first hear the description of Research Plus Me and say, oh, that doesn't pertain to me, it doesn't pertain to my team. My goal is to convince you that it might and it could, and there are plenty of opportunities here. Then I'll go over a quick success snapshot. So our researchers that are using the platform, how's that going? And then again, those collaboration opportunities. Okay, so as I said, my name is Amber Hedquist and I have 2 roles here at ASU. Number 1, I'm a project manager in the Office of VP Research. The project I manage is Research Plus Me. And then I'm also a PhD student in the Department of English. So my dissertation focuses on how the university can better communicate with the community about research projects that need participants. So my work and my scholarly work combine really well in really interesting ways. Really quickly, I want to see who's in the room. Do we have any researchers here? You do research at ASU, academic or otherwise? A little bit? Great question. Need humans to participate in research projects at all? Okay, again, this will be my objective today. So I think you answered that question. Is anyone here a teacher or an instructor? Okay, that was a little bit of a long shot. Have any of you participated in a research study at ASU? Right on. Okay, I'm also hoping to change your minds about that. ASU researchers, particularly academic researchers, they're doing a lot of research. They rely on research participation, and sometimes we forget that we should be participating in the work of our peers to help them move forward as well. But really quickly, I'm going to talk about the exigence behind Research Plus Me. And like all things at ASU, it needs a solid acronym. So we go with R plus me. And why did we need to innovate participant recruitment in the first place? Like most things at ASU, ASU noticed an opportunity to innovate and to be better at other schools at something. So that's what we're doing here. So all researchers at ASU conduct over thousands of human subject studies a year. That number last year was over 3,000 studies that needed human participants. And hundreds of participants are needed for each of those studies. So we just had one that got added to Research Plus Me that's looking for 800 people. Some only need 10, it varies. But the current system doesn't work well for researchers or participants. So on the researcher side, there's a lot of siloed databases. So we might have a researcher who does health and medicine research, and they rely on 10 people that they go to every time they have a new study to ask them to participate. We might have the same thing going on in the humanities department, where anytime a humanities professor has a survey, they go to the same 100 people. We wanted those databases to start talking to each other and centralize participant recruitment. There's also limited diversity in research findings. This is a global issue that we are trying to combat, and also lengthy recruitment periods. ASU wants to be innovative. We want to be number one. We want to be the first to solve problems. It's really hard to do that if we're spending all of our time trying to reach different populations. So we're trying to speed that up. And then for participants, there's no central way to discover studies until now. And there's no way to stay informed about current or future opportunities. I like to talk about an instance where 2 years ago, as a new graduate student, if any of you have gone to grad school or are in grad school, don't make a whole lot of money. And I was scrolling through Instagram and an opportunity popped up that was looking for college students who ingest protein powder and like how that might affect their athletic performance or something like that. I'm a competitive power lifter. I was like, that's awesome. I want to know the answer to that question, and I also kind of want some money for participating in helping answer that question. And then I had to run off to class, and by the time I went on my phone again, I couldn't find that Instagram ad again because it was one of those like automated recommended for you, and I was like, shoot. And I was Googling it, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't remember the professor's name. So we're trying to put all of that in one place to avoid that. It's also important to recognize that research participation is incredibly important. These are 2 studies that I pulled out that kind of speak to that importance. So thanks to 139 college freshmen this past year, we know more about how the microbiome can impact weight gain among college students, particularly in their freshman year. The researcher found that the freshman 15 is a bit of a myth, and that the microbiome has a more significant role than previously expected. And now we are able to better tailor nutritional advice to college students. And then also thanks to over 1,000 staff and students at ASU, we know more about COVID-19 antibodies in our community. During COVID, we had a lot of researchers doing a lot of great work and a really enthusiastic community behind participating in that work. So this is a brief snapshot of Research Plus Me. It's been in development for about the past 3 years and was officially launched in September. So this is what each study looks like. I'll give you an overview on the next slide, or you can jump on your phones or your computers and check it out right now. But each study description is filled out by the researcher. And then you'll notice that both on the mobile version and on the laptop version, there's a join study button. The researcher gets to choose where they send participants, and this has been really helpful because our researchers collect participants in different ways. Some researchers send them straight to a pre-screener, so they want to ask them a few more questions. Some people are like, oh, you want to participate in my study? Awesome. Let's go straight to the survey. Let's get you filling that out. So it functions well for both groups of people. So again, the features of that study posting are a title, a description, some fast facts, trying to get people hooked and interested really quickly. Where is it, and how much do you get compensated for? And then why the research matters, who can participate in the research, what can those participants expect, what's the compensation, and who's the researcher? So we actually have over 20% of these studies on Research Plus Me are conducted by graduate students. So their ability to add themselves as a visual aspect of their study has been really helpful in getting their names out there. So in terms of how it'll benefit researchers, it'll save researchers time and costs. Research Plus Me is free to ASU researchers, which is significantly better than Prolific or MTurk or any of the other crowdsourcing platforms where you do have to pay per participant. And then you can diversify your participation and increase visibility of you and your research. In terms of how it'll benefit participants, finding studies in one place, as I mentioned, you can help diversify research and stay connected to future opportunities. Now the functionality of Research Plus Me. There are 2 requirements to post your study on Research Plus Me. 1, you have to be an ASU researcher. However, it does not matter what your title is. You just need to be an ASU affiliate. So student, PI, co-PI, undergraduate student in the honors college, etc. Or maybe you're a part of a research study, or you have a friend or a colleague who's a part of a multi-site research study that they're doing with Stanford and MIT. As long as there's an ASU researcher on that project, they can post here. And then it needs IRB approval, so the Institutional Review Board needs to first review your study and confirm that it is following all ethical procedures. How you can use Research Plus Me, we've kept it very simple, and we've kept the administrative portion of it far away, hopefully, because all of the agencies on the researcher or the research team, any person on the research team fills out a form via SharePoint, and it's all that information that we were looking at. What's your title? Describe your study, etc. Then they send the form to the IRB to get the IRB to say, yes, this is ethical, the amount of money they're promising is the amount of money they have, etc. And then you just email us when you get that approval from the IRB. So admin does not need to be notified until that very end step. However, I am the primary point person for this, so if you need help with step number 1, that's what I'm here for, but you don't have to go through us first. If you're ready to add a study, on the link that is attached to that flyer, researchplusme.asu.edu, we have a 3-minute video tutorial that walks you through step 1 through 3. I highly recommend it. Oftentimes when people ask me questions, the answer is in the video tutorial, so I might point you there kindly. And all of our other information is available on that website. You'll notice there's a Contact Us tab. Part of that Contact Us tab is I do office hours every day from 1 to 3. And I tell everyone it's usually just me, my monitors, and I. I work from home, so I'm always eager to chit-chat. So if you ever want to jump on. Okay, I wanted to give a quick detail on a success snapshot. So how many users are on Research Plus Me, and what did the first 30 days look like? Okay, it's important to preface with a timeline. So we finished up phase 1. We started phase 1 in June. Phase 1 involved me reaching out to as many ASU researchers as possible, saying, hey, here's this new tool. We don't want to tell the public about this platform until we have a lot of studies on the platform. Because if we say, hey, go check out research studies at ASU, and we have one study sitting there, it doesn't look too good. The optics aren't great on that. So from June to August, that was our main priority. We got over 30 studies on the platform. At that point, we said, awesome. If we invite the public in, they have plenty to pick and choose from. So we invited the public in September. We announced to the public on September 12th through various channels and an ASU news story that this is a new website that they should come and check out. So, and then phase 3, which we're kind of in now, our goal is to increase users and studies and our reach while conducting UX research. So that is the plan. So the first 30 days of recruitment, we do count from September 12th to October 12th, because again, we announced it on September 12th. Come on, transitions. There we go. Okay. 75% of researchers agree that Research Plus Me reduced the time they spent recruiting participants. I was able to talk to a few of them about what that number actually looked like beforehand. And some of them said they spent 20, 30 hours trying to recruit participants, whether that was tabling at different events, setting up flyers. I had one researcher say that they tried to learn Canva, trying to figure out how to build flyers. And again, sorry, this data is from the 12 researchers who responded out of the 31 I contacted. 75% agree that Research Plus Me reduced the cost they spent recruiting participants, because making flyers, paying for MTurk, paying for Prolific, it gets expensive. And especially if you're a graduate student, you might not have those funds. 58.3% agree that Research Plus Me helped them recruit hard to reach populations. So that is populations previously omitted from research and not historically involved in research, particularly pregnant women, older adults, a few other populations. And then 41.6% agree that Research Plus Me helped them recruit diverse participants. So those latter two statistics are the ones that we're working on building. The more researchers that we have use Research Plus Me, and as the population grows, we are hoping that diversity increases as well. In terms of total enrollment in the first 30 days, again, these are the responses from 12 researchers. You'll notice that there's a few over here and they got like 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. The top of this is four studies, 1, 2, 1. And then we had a good bit that got 25 to 30, 30 to 35, 50 plus, and 100 plus. And we're going through the data right now trying to see what made the 100 plus and the 50 plus particularly popular. And most of that was they are looking for general population. So there's limited eligibility criteria. Whereas the 0 to 5 group, they were looking for people with specific conditions and diseases, things like that. So that's what we're looking to improve moving forward. Today's metrics, I looked this up right before jumping in. I sat on the chair out there on my laptop to check out what our user count is. We have 1,463 total users that have created a profile on Research Plus Me, that are getting emails about Research Plus Me and upcoming studies, etc. And we have more data coming soon. Around December, we're going to send out a semesterly report, reporting on the first couple months of Research Plus Me, specifically detailing what the demographics look like, and a few other details. Okay, so next steps for Research Plus Me. How can you help? You might not be doing research, but there are ways that you can support Research Plus Me and spread the word to your colleagues. You can post, promote, provide, or participate. Love some good alliteration. So in terms of posting a study, you can get started by going to that link that is put on the QR code there. And one thing that might make this make sense is, for instance, with the previous presenters, there's a lot of great data we already know about our students. But maybe you want to dive a little bit deeper. So maybe you notice that the gender distribution in those head counts is really skewed one way or another. Maybe you want to talk to students and then publish your findings. In order to publish your findings, it needs to be IRB approved. In order to reach ASU students, Research Plus Me is a great way to do so. So it can really round out a lot of the data we already have. Also promoting studies. So I am currently working on building a lot of partnerships at ASU that are mutually beneficial. So the ASU alumni engagement team is a great example of this. I send them a few studies to promote every month that they feature in the ASU alumni newsletter that goes out to 200,000 alumni. And then in turn, I'm able to report back to them how many alumni ended up creating a profile on Research Plus Me, and it gives them a better idea about what research studies alumni care about, what are they passionate about, etc. And then if you want to provide your feedback and tell us about your experience, we do have a survey up on our website. This is very new. There's a lot of directions that this could go. There's a lot we're particularly interested in fixing on the user experience side of things. So if you do have feedback, please let us know. And then also I'd encourage you to participate in a study. I guarantee you there is a study on Research Plus Me that you could participate in, and you are helping advance important research here at ASU, and in most cases also getting compensated for doing so. The holidays are around the corner, so I know I'm trying to pocket some gift cards, give them out to family, all that stuff. And then other collaborations. If you were sitting through this presentation, you're like, maybe this doesn't super align with what I'm doing, but I know a colleague who's working on this project that might connect. Please reach out to me. Please let me know. There's an email on the bottom of those flyers. It's the typical info at yada, yada, yada. I'm the woman behind that email, so please do reach out to me if you have any ideas. I'm all ears. So yeah, I'll stay around to answer any questions. I also have a bunch of flyers, so if you have colleagues that might be interested, or if you want to hang up these flyers in your respective departments or units, I would be eternally grateful. But yeah, that being said, please reach out. So yeah, any questions? Yeah.
One of your slides mentioned expanding the UX research.
Yeah.
Is that still going to require IRB?
Yes. Yeah, so, oh, well, so are you saying like if you wanted to do this for user experience research? You would have to get IRB approval, but it might be expedited because you're not really looking at sensitive. Yeah. So as long as we have that IRB saying like this study's not a big deal, then cool, good to go. And then also on our end, we're going to be doing user experience testing on our end to share with researchers like a little bit about like, hey, when people are reading through your study, here's what the heat map looks like. They're spending a lot of time hovering over this section. You might want to fix this or that, etc. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Do you get pushback from anybody who doesn't want to do a paid study, and do you encourage that option?
Yeah, so people posting studies that don't have compensation?
Yeah, or if they were to ask, like, how does this posting look, or, I'm not getting anybody, do you have any suggestions? I don't know if that comes through your office as well.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe if you paid them, it could help.
I am transparent with people. I say if you do have compensation, it'll increase the likelihood that you're seen and participated in. Personally, I have a study up there right now where I'm asking ASU researchers to share their participant recruitment experiences. I'm not offering compensation. I don't have any to offer, but I have had over 120 responses, and that's been my only recruitment resource, so that's been really helpful. So even without compensation, it can be successful. And then we're also working on building out our outreach. So for instance, I just landed a consistent tabling spot at the downtown Phoenix Farmers Market, where I'm sharing the news about Research Plus Me and also inviting a different researcher with me every time to talk about their research. So if I do know that a researcher is struggling or might not have compensation, I might offer them to come join the table with me. So yeah, any other questions? I particularly appreciate the user experience question. A lot of you in the room might be wanting people to test out different applications, to share their experience on what different dashboards look like, and you can absolutely advertise that here as long as you go through the IRB and the IRB says like, yeah, this is human subjects research, or no, it's not. So, right on. Any other questions? All right, again, I know this was the last session of the day, so thank you all so much for your time, and please do reach out with any questions or comments.